I'm here with Jeff and Sue Allen, a husband and wife team who are also internationally renowned life coaches. With more than 25 plus years under their belt and a few trials of their own, they're ideally placed through their business, Vision Works, to offer some words of wisdom. Welcome, Jeff and Sue.
Thanks.
Hi.
Let's get straight to the heart of the matter. Why is our psychology a key to our health?
You know, it's more and more in the kind of public awareness that we are not just a physical body, we're not just a psychological body, we're not just an emotional body, we are a holistic system, which means that everything in us is connected to everything else in some way. Now, we may not know exactly how that works in every single aspect of ourselves because our bodies are completely miraculous and who knows exactly how all those connections work. But for sure, our physical health is related to our mind, to our emotions, and to our experience of the world. It's not isolated as a separate item.
And for me, after about 30 years of working with people in their minds, I've realized there's a psychosomatic aspect to every illness. That's just to say, if you can find that connection, that link in your mind to the illness, then and to shift that belief system or shift that self-concept within the mind, then it really helps in the healing process. And so it's essential to, for quick and easy healing, to approach it from both angles.
Yeah, sure. The physical, of course, is important and doctors are essential. And if we can find other keys in our psychology, in our emotions, in our experience of the world that can help, that can only add to the general outcome positively.
So how can healing past injuries bring about positive changes within our relationships?
One of our greatest failings as human beings is our inability to see the patterns that repeat through our lives. So typically, if you've had some kind of injury and the reflection of that, in time, that will always impact you in different ways. That injury would have been part of a pattern and that pattern will repeat. Not saying you'll always have the same injury, but you'll have some issue that carries forward, and typically that shows up in your relationship, because every one of our problems at the heart of it is a relationship problem.
Yeah. And we've had people in workshops and people that we've worked with, because when I'm thinking, when you're saying injury, is this an emotional injury or is it a physical injury? But often people have talked about times that they spent in hospital when they were really young, or things that they had with their physical body that impacted their relationships then within the family and their view of life and how things were for them, which also show up in our relationships. So it almost works with any kind of level of injury, as obviously going to impact our life, impact our psychology, and therefore come out in our relationships if we don't deal with it and heal it.
So you're saying, is it possible to reframe those early patterns, those early injuries?
Yes, it's actually quite easy if there's willingness to do that. Many people struggle with it because the willingness is not there. But as soon as people really become willing to go back there and find those past injuries, those past traumas, and bring them to the surface and then make new decisions about them and reframe them, then that'll have profound effects on people's lives.
It's amazing how much we are, or could be, in potential, willing to learn new things. People say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I think it's actually, of course, true in some ways about some of us, if we're particularly stubborn or somehow attached to a particular pattern that we have. But if we're willing to open our mind to other possibilities, it is astounding what can change.
And in truth, everything can heal, everything can change. So, like I said, with the willingness and the desire, then you can have whatever kind of health or whatever kind of life that you wish for.
I mean, we are living examples of that, because we had in our marriage a huge breakup about 20, 25 years ago, and impacted, of course, ourselves, our children. It was really a traumatic time for us. Somehow we found our way back from that, and I would say now that I definitely am happier than I ever thought I could be. I really didn't think that was on the cards for me, and it does feel truly miraculous.
Do you concur, Jeff?
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah,
better.
Of course, exactly, better.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel that the stressful modern life that we all live these days, running from here, there, and everywhere, how does that impact our health?
That's a really good question, because it's stress has been well documented that fight or flight response has a huge physiological impact on our bodies in terms of how our heart rate is, how our digestion is, how our adrenaline works, and the adrenal glands. And a stressful situation physiologically impacts our gut, and therefore indirectly affects our brain, as is now being proved. That connection is really, really strong. So stress is something which we're coming to understand more about, and hopefully understand more about how to deal with it and how to manage it in ways that are more successful and impacting badly on our health.
Yeah, there's a sort of common wisdom that people think, you need stress in order to, achieve what you need to achieve. I actually think, or I think we believe that's a mistake. I think stress in any form is not helpful. It certainly will impact your health over a period of time. In fact, many people believe it's the main cause of death, if you want it, manifests in so many different ways in our health system. And I think it's essential for anyone who wants to live a healthy lifestyle that they've got to learn techniques and abilities to bring their stress levels down to as close to zero as possible.
Yeah, I know a couple of years ago, because we had so many projects on the go, I remember thinking to myself, if I carry on with this level of stress, I'm going to get seriously ill. It was sort of like just a knowing within my body. And since then, I have sort of ramped up my yoga and my meditation and this and that. I do find it really helpful for calming me down.
And also, I think your diet helps as well. And, there are many techniques, and, time spent on walks and going in the countryside and spending time connecting with people and talking to people. I think many of those things are really undervalued. And so, keep away from stress.
Yeah, it's all difficult to find time for ourselves, isn't it? But so basically, with all the work that you've done over the last 25 plus years, you must have seen some great changes in people. Can you tell us something about some of the highlights?
Well, so I start with my husband. Yeah.
Apart from each other.
Apart from each other, so I think we have noticed huge changes there. Yeah.
Not only each other, but in our children. I think it's one of those things when you change, it kind of radiates out. It's got better for us. It's got better for our kids. It's got better for our friends. It seems to be better all round.
I mean, people have reported to us huge changes for themselves in their family relationships, in their work, in their success, in their health. For everybody, it's different. Each of us is a totally unique organism, and how those changes are going to manifest is therefore individual as well. But it's heartening to see and know about people feeling that they have changed and being helped. You can see it from the end of a workshop, can't you? The look on people's faces is just totally different. Just starting there is heartening.
I think over time we know quite a lot of people now who've been facing catastrophic illnesses who have come back to full health. And I'm not saying that's necessarily what we did only, but it was a combination of things. And I'm saying that, people have come to us who've been told by institutions that, there's not really much hope for them, either physically or mentally. And they've gone back to living perfectly healthy, happy lives. And so, of course, that always, makes us feel good about what we do. However, we do need to recognize that there has to be that willingness to change, because so many of us want things to be different, but so few of us are willing to actually make the changes. And I think that's the secret. Are you willing to change?
Thank you, Jeff and Sue, for chatting with us today. We definitely all need to take a leaf out of your book. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll be chatting again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.